Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and here we are in November, still in the year 2017 though, so we are at the November 2017 Tabs3 Virtual User Group meeting. Welcome. Today we are talking about aging periods, both in accounts payable and accounts receivable, which of course we all know is tabs. And we're also talking about budgeting in tabs. Without further ado, I'm going to press the long list of magic buttons that will get me to a point where Mary Jo can start talking about aging periods.
Okay, so we're going to start in tabs for our accounts receivable side because that's where most people will tend to look at their aging periods. And out of the box, there are some set standards that they have. But sometimes we want to add periods. Maybe we don't want just 4 or 5 aging periods. We want 6 or 7, or we only want 2 or 3. That can be changed. And a lot of people don't know that that's available. So where I'm talking about, for instance, is if I do a detail AR and come in and I'm just going to say okay with whatever the standard is, this is going to come across with these aging periods as to how old is this accounts receivable, 0 to 30, 31 to 60, and so on. And in this example, we have 6 aging periods, and this one is just 181 plus. Now, some firms I see, they want this to be like 360 and plus or more, so they want to be able to, create their own designations. So to do that, that can be changed in customization, and it's underneath our setup tab and then customization. And this is an exclusive task, so if you want to change these aging periods, everybody does need to log out of tabs for you to get in here. Otherwise, it's only going to let you browse. It's not going to let you actually change. And those aging periods are over here underneath our options tab. So the first selection that we have here is to change how many aging periods that we want. I said that there were 6. The 0 to whatever it is was 1. It's not actually counted as 1. I think that's 5. So we're saying 30 plus, 60 plus, 90 plus here. So if I wanted to change this to 7 aging periods, we could do that. Whoops, I guess I can't do that. There's a maximum of 5, so that doesn't let me do that. I'm sorry, let me put it back to 5. But I could do less. So I could do 1 to 5. And then this one, if I don't really care about the 180 and I want to change that to 360 and plus, we could do that and change that. Or I could change all of these. This could be 90 and, raise everyone, whatever I want that to be. Then we can save that. And we're going to get out of that and go out to our accounts receivable report again. And now if I run the same report, okay, and preview, now we've got 361 plus because I said this next period was 121 to 360, and then this is going to be anything older than that. So you can kind of look at how you want to track things for the firm, and then these can be changed to match that instead of using the out-of-box defaults. Now, accounts payable, on the other hand, is a little different. Those also have some defining aging periods over here. And again, when we're looking at the aged unpaid invoices, for example, now I'm in sample data, so I'm going to actually cross my fingers and hope we have something in here for some aging periods, which we do. So these aging periods run a little bit differently because we're saying how old an invoice is. And so this one is older than, 29 days, and then we got 28 and 14 and so on, and less than that. So these aging periods, again, can be controlled through our settings. So we're going to go back over to change those, go into our setup, into customization, and in accounts payable, those aging periods are right down here at the bottom. Now, I can't change how many I have. There are 5, but you can change the time frame for those. So this could be, 60 and 30 and so on. Okay, so again, same kind of a concept, but this is how old are my invoices, my outstanding invoices. Okay, so those are the 2 places that we have control that we can change those. I do have some firms I've seen where the tabs, there's only 3 aging periods or 4 and they want to add 1. You can do that. You can change those numbers for either one of those programs. Paul?
Awesome. So it's kind of like they're kind of inverse. One is how old is the stuff you haven't paid, and the other is how old is the stuff that people haven't paid you. Just two different perspectives. I am going to talk about budgeting, so I'm going to get out of this report in tabs, and I'm going to go into the client screen, and I'm going to get Mary Jo to help me because I never know what tab to click on when I'm in here. Oh, yeah, that's right. She always makes fun of me because it's right there. It's called budget. So I'm going to pull up Client 100, Michael Larson. This is a, let's take a look real quick. This is not a task-based billing client, which is fine. So I'm going to look at budgeting, and you'll see that we have two places we can put budget numbers when it's not a task-based billing client. Hours and amounts. We can say we budget 10 hours. Doesn't matter what the rate is, but we budget 10 hours, and doesn't matter who adds this time. If somebody adds an entry that goes above that 10 hours, and this checkbox is checked, then when they go to enter that entry, when they go to add that fee entry that takes it over 10 hours, they'll get a little pop-up that says you have exceeded the budget with this entry. And so I'm actually going to go ahead and put in just 1 hour. I'm going to go over and I think I did. Yep, there it is. And I am going to go over into fee entry, and we will enter something for Michael Larson. And it's just going to be, doesn't matter what, but I'm going to put 1.2. And I get that warning, but then I can go on and complete. Now this will continue, and once you've exceeded this budget amount, everybody that puts time in will get this warning. So if you're looking to know that you've exceeded the budget before you actually exceed the budget, then all you have to do is pay closer attention to what numbers you're putting in here. Let's say, for instance, that you wanted to know when you're, 20% away from budget, and budget is 10 hours, so you would simply put in 8. Of course, that puts the onus on you to do the math and figure out where you want to be warned. And of course, you run into a situation, and of course the amount is pretty much the same thing. You run into a situation where this is telling people that may or may not do something about the budget being exceeded. So that's something to be aware of. Now, there is a budget report. I'm going to show you that in a second. And so that will show you, if you go and pull this report, what cases are at what percentage of exceeding budget. Now, the other thing to show you before we go look at that report is and I'm going to pull up Peterson Insurance, who in our system is somebody that, we don't want to say, we don't care. Somebody in our system who I believe has task-based, and you can tell because this budget button down here has now been enabled. Okay, I've chosen somebody that's task-based billing. We can see right here, task-based billing, and we go back to the budget tab. We can still put in hours and we can still put in amount, but then this opens up the additional ability to pull in certain phases and say, we want to not have any more than $5,000 in fees and more than $2,000 in expenses for the L100 phase. Okay, so the difference, of course, being that here you can put hours and amount and nothing more, and here, if it is truly a task-based billing client, we can go down and define those budgets on that level. Now, where do you find out, other than adding time, that this budget has been exceeded? Well, there's a report, and it is, of course, on the Reports tab. Oops, Reports tab. And Mary Jo, what did we decide? Management? Yep. And Client Budget Report. So if I run this report right now, let's see what we get. Okay, so we can see that we are at well, this one's way over budget, 30% of budget. This one's not at budget at all. The percentage of budget is 0. Now, just so you can see that report in a little bit more detail, did I save that or did I close it? Oh, task-based clients down there. I'll go back to that. So here's that same report showing a little bit more detail. And if you want to study up on this report and understand it, you can go to Tabs3, tabs3.com. And, oh, yeah, Mary Jo says just go to help. Go to help and click on documentation, and you'll end up on this screen. You'll end up at the top. But when you click on report packs right here, the Tabs3 reports are right there, and you can go to any report, but we're looking specifically at the budget report. Back to my system, and we will show you the other half of that, which is that the task-based budgets are down here. And so this particular budget is $900,000. Boy, oh, that's the total. Oh, I see. It's broken down by it's who the primary timekeeper is, and Ron Anderson is the primary timekeeper here. And so he's got a case that's got huge budget amounts, and have come close to exceeding those as far as Mega Builders is. Now, in my mind, that there's a few things wrong with this, and so I will tell you that we also have an add-on that we've developed, and there is a webinar that we just gave a coffee pot webinar about this. Oh, probably 2 or 3 months ago, and it's called our budget tab. And I'm not going to get into that, but the one fallacy I see in this, the major one, is that you don't really get told proactively that you're exceeding the budget. It's not until you're entering time, and that's telling somebody that may or may not care. So we do have something we've written as an add-on to Practice Master. You have to be using Practice Master for it to work, where you can put all sorts of budget figures in, and then it will check them every night against actual and send an email to the primary or the secondary or the originating timekeeper. In one of our installations for this, we have all the emails going to one person that monitors the budget. So there's that, but this is what's built into Tabs, and it's for some firms it's entirely adequate to do exactly what they want to do in maintaining those budgets. Now, next month, we are going to talk about paying a partial invoice in accounts payable. If you're like, well, what do you mean? That's kind of how I was. I didn't know you could do that. Mary Jo's going to show us how. And I'm going to talk about the preview window settings, the things that are in there that you've never really paid attention to, and how they might help you to better interact with the preview window. And before we get done here, I am going to take you to our website, attorneycomputersystems.com, and I am going to emphasize that S on the end of the word systems, because without it, you're not going to get to the right place. Attorneycomputersystems.com, click on videos or hover. If you click, it'll take you to a separate page. If you hover, you can go straight to the page you're looking for. And this will show you all of our video content. We have our 3 virtual user group meetings. You are currently in this one, the Tabs3 virtual user group meeting. We also have one on Practice Master, one on World Docs. I give my monthly coffee pot webinar. That's where I talked about our budget tab. This is usually where we talk about additional or add-on products that enhance the value of Practice Master tab, World Docs. And then we have our pre-recorded video titles. Mary Jo has her eBytes video series. These are short little 2 or 3 minute videos with really cool, really easy to explain things that we think some people might not know about. And then we also have our Paul and Mary Jo show, where I or Mary Jo will take a broader topic and take a deeper dive, spending sometimes 10, 15, 20 minutes going into great detail. If you want to know anything about any of these, let's go in here, for instance. You just click on the more info. Here's a description of the Tabs3 virtual user group meetings. Here's information on our next event, our next live event. When it's a live event, we give you 2 links to register. They take you to the same place. It's just some people like to see the whole thing spelled out, and others expect to be able to click on that date. As we scroll down, we will find pre-recorded versions of everything else we've ever done. Now, this is the one you're currently watching, so it's currently in post-production, but recorded versions of everything else. So you will find literally close to 1,000 videos on our website dealing with just about everything that you could imagine that has to do with Tabs3, Practice Master, or World Docs. So please, these are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, except, yep, that one special year when they happen to be available 366 days a year. And so please take advantage of them, go out there, use them, watch them, get a glass of wine, sit by the fire, watch our videos. Everybody have a good rest of the month, and we will see you in December. Thanks. Bye-bye.